Welcome to Live Smart. Good morning, all. Who will cry when you die? Part 5. Chapters 41 to 50. 41. Get good at asking. He who asks may be a fool for 5 minutes. He who doesn't is a fool for a lifetime, goes the wise Chinese proverb. It makes me think of an ad I read in the classic fields recently that said, to the beautiful woman in the brown suede coat at the drugstore at street location provided on Saturday, 28th November at 4 p.m. You bumped into me in front of the magazine section. I would love to meet and chat. The man who placed this ad then left his phone number. Destiny had given him an opportunity, possibly to meet the woman of his dreams, and he had squandered it. And now, after regretting the fact that he did not ask, he has had to resort to placing an ad in the newspaper in the desperate hope of finding this woman. The more you ask, the more you get, but it takes practice to get good at it. Success is a number game. As the Buddhist sages observed, every arrow that hits the bull's eye is the result of 100 misses. Over the coming weeks, flex your asking muscles by asking for a better table at your favorite restaurant, for a free second scoop at your local ice cream shop, or for a complimentary upgrade on your next airline flight. You might be surprised at the abundance that will flow into your life when you just ask sincerely for the things you want. Remember, the person who asks for what he wants at least has a chance of getting what he wants. The person who does not ask has no chance. One of the best books I have read on the power of asking is The Aladdin Factor, written by my friend and speaking colleague Mark Victor Hanse along with self-esteem expert Jack Canfield. Full of practical ideas and simple techniques, the book also contains a wealth of inspiring quotes like this one from Somerset Maugham. It's a funny thing about life, if you refuse to accept anything but the best, you very often get it. 42. Look for the higher meaning of your work. One of my favorite magazines is Fast Company. It provides a refreshingly human look at the new world of work. In a recent issue, Xerox Spark guru John Seeley Brown said something that really made me think. The job of leadership today is not just to make money, it's to make meaning. In the old days, most of us were content to have a job that simply paid the bills. But now, we crave so much more in our work. We want fulfillment, creative challenge, growth, joy, and a sense that we are living for something more than ourselves. In a word, we seek meaning. One of the best ways to find the higher meaning in the work you do is to use the technique of creative questioning to become aware of the impact your work has on the world around you. Ask yourself questions like, who ultimately benefits from the products and services my company offers? Or what difference do my services my company offers? Or what difference do my daily efforts make? Once you do so, you will start noticing the connection between the work you do and the lives you touch. For example, if you are a teacher, stop focusing on all the tremendous changes in your profession, and remember that every day you enter that classroom, you have the privilege to shape a young mind. There are children and families that count on you. If you are a financial advisor, remain centered on the fact that your services help people retire early, build the homes they have always wanted, and fulfill their dreams. If you are an insurance professional, remember that you help people bring security to their lives and serve them in times of need. And if you are a retail clerk, think about how your work serves people and how the products you offer them add joy to their lives. By concentrating on the value your work adds and the contribution you make, you will see quantum improvements in your satisfaction and motivation levels. Few things energize the human spirit more than the desire to make a difference in the lives of others. Mahatma Gandhi knew this. Nelson Mandela knew this. And Mother Teresa knew this. The simple shift of mind I am encouraging you make into your life. 43. Build a library of heroic books. Few things make me happier than meeting someone who has read my books or listened to my audio tapes and hearing something like, "I was so moved and inspired after going through your material that I went out and bought 10 more life improvement books and read them all. And you know what? They have completely transformed me. I not only write books on life leadership, I am a dedicated student of them. As I mentioned in an earlier lesson, I spend countless hours in large bookstores combing the shelves for the latest treasure that will enlighten and educate me. I also frequent used bookshops where I have picked up some of my most valuable books for only a few dollars. As I write this paragraph, I have a pre-owned copy of Maxwell Maltz's classic JAICO Cybernetics on my desk, which still bears the sticker price of $2.95. Also on my desk is a copy of Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, a truly priceless work, which was purchased by my dad for $1.95. While almost any reading will improve your mind, in a world where there is too much to do, you must be selective in the books you read. And so, I suggest you spend much of your time reading what Thoreau called the heroic books, those books that contain the noblest recorded thoughts of man. Let your mind drink deeply from the works of the great philosophers, such as Epictetus and Confucius. Study the poems of the wisest poets, such as Alfred Lord Tennyson, Emily Dickinson and John Keats, and the novels of Leo Tolstoy, Hermann Hesse and the Bronte. Read the writings of Mahatma Gandhi, Albert Einstein, and Mother Teresa. Connecting with such works for even a few minutes a day will keep you cantered on what life is really about and will ultimately profoundly affect your character. Asked in an interview what his biggest regret in life was, talk show superstar Larry King replied, "I should have been better rooted in the great books." Here are some of the heroic books that helped me change my own life and gave me the wisdom and inspiration to live more deliberately and completely. If you read all of them and act on the lessons contained within their pages, you cannot help but improve your circumstances profoundly. Letters from a Stoic, Seneca. The Message of a Master, John MacDonald. Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. The Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. University of Success, Og Mandino. The Magic of Believing, Claude Bristol. Siddhartha, Hermann Hesse. Psycho, Cybernetics. Maxwell Maltz. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, Joseph Murphy. As a Man Thinketh, James Allen. Flow, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Life is Tremendous, Charlie Tremendous Jones. Can bring a whole new sense of enjoyment. 44. Develop your talents. Norman Cousins once noted that the tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live. In a similar vein, Ashley Montagu wrote that the deepest personal defeat suffered by human beings is constituted by the difference between what one was capable of becoming and what one has in fact become. There is a difference between simply existing and truly living. There is a distinction between simply surviving and really thriving. The sad thing is that most people have lost sight of the human gifts that lie within them and have resigned themselves to spending the best years of their lives watching television in a subdivision. In my speeches, I often use the following story drawn from ancient Indian mythology to remind the audience that there is an abundance of potential, an ability just waiting to be awakened within us if we will only allow it to see the light of day. Thousands of years ago, it was believed that everyone who walked the earth was a god. But humankind abused its limitless powers so that Supreme God decided to hide the Godhead, the source of all of this potential, so that no one could find it. The question then became, where could such a thing be hidden? The first advisor suggested it could be placed deep in the ground, to which the Supreme God replied, "No, eventually someone will dig deep enough and find it." The second advisor then offered, "What if we place the Godhead at the bottom of the deepest ocean?" To which the Supreme God responded, "No, eventually someone will dive deep enough and find it." The third advisor then chimed in, "Well, why don't we put it on the top of the highest mountain?" Which prompted the Supreme God to reply, "No, I'm certain that eventually someone will scale that highest of peaks and find it." After reflecting for some time, the Supreme God found the solution. "I will put this source of all human power, potential, and purpose inside the hearts of every man, woman, and child on the planet, for they will never think to look there." In all my work with employees of organizations across North America, I see the same thing. Too many people spend more time focusing on their weakness rather than developing their strengths. By concentrating on what they don't have, they neglect the talents they do have. The greatest people who have gone before us all had a simple strategy that ensured their success: they knew themselves. They made the time to reflect on their core abilities, those special qualities that made them unique, and spent the rest of their lives refining and expanding them. You see, we are all endowed with the capacity for genius. Perhaps you have just not taken the time to discover what your personal gifts are and then hone them to the level where you are considered brilliant. Are you using the best within you to its fullest capacity? If not, you are not only doing yourself a disservice, you are doing the world, and all those within it who could benefit from your unique talents, a disservice. Ruskin put it this way: "The weakest among us has a gift, however seemingly trivial, which is peculiar to him, and which worthily used will be a gift also to his race." 45. Connect with nature. We live in an age of seemingly limitless information. The weekday edition of the New York Times contains more information than the average person was exposed to during an entire lifetime in 17th century England. Over the years, I have found that spending time alone in natural surroundings connects me to the larger universe around me and restores my spirit in this hurried age. After a busy week of speaking engagements, book signings, and media appearances, the simple act of sitting in a wooded park and listening to the wind move through the leaves fills me with a sense of quiet and peace. My priorities become clearer, my obligations seem less pressing, and my mind grows still. Communing with nature is also an excellent way to unlock your creativity and generate new ideas. Newton formulated the laws of gravity while relaxing under an apple tree. Likewise, Swiss designer Georges de Mestral developed Velcro after examining the burdock burrs that cling to his dog while he hiked in the mountains. Natural surroundings serve to stifle the endless chatter that fills our minds so that our true brilliance can be liberated. And while you spend time enjoying nature, observe your surroundings with deep concentration. Study the complexity of a flower or the way the current moves in a sparkling stream. Take your shoes off and feel the grass under your feet. Give silent thanks that you have the privilege of enjoying these special gifts of nature. Many people do not. As Mahatma Gandhi observed, "When I admire the wonder of a sunset or the beauty of the moon, my soul expands in worship of the Creator." 46. Use your commute time. If you commute to the office for 30 minutes each way every day, after 1 year you will have spent the equivalent of 6 weeks of 8-hour days in your car. Given this, can you really afford to spend all your time staring out the window and daydreaming while the negative news blares from the car radio? So many of the highly successful and enlightened people I know share a common habit: they listen to audiocassettes in their cars. In doing so, they transform their driving time into learning time and make their automobiles moving universities. Turning your car into a college on wheels will be one of the best investments you will ever make. Rather than arriving at work tired, frustrated and dispirited, listening to educational audio cassettes will make your commute fun and keep you inspired, focused and alert to the endless opportunities around you. The best way to spot someone truly committed to life improvement is to ask him whether his car radio is working. The real students of effective living will have no clue because they spend every minute of their driving time listening to audio tapes. I cannot tell you how many times I have gone to get into the passenger seat of the car of a successful and fulfilled person and found a small mountain of tapes occupying the place where I was to sit. Most of the latest books can now be found on audiocassette along with many of the best motivational programs and life leadership systems. Personally, I try to listen to at least 5 new tapes a month ranging from the latest business bestsellers to programs on time management, creativity, positive thinking, physical well-being and spiritual satisfaction. 47. Go on a news fast. Negative news sells. In our society, more people will choose to watch the criminal trial of a celebrity rather than the biography of a truly great human being. A newspaper with a headline revealing the latest tragedy will sell more copies than one announcing the latest scientific breakthrough. The real problem is that it is easy to get addicted to reading and watching negative news. I know so many people who begin their days by reading less than uplifting newspaper stories and who end them by catching up on the latest crimes, accidents, and scandals on the late-night news. I am not against newspapers or television by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, I find excellent information in many newspapers and have learned much from the intelligent TV programs I have watched over the years. My point is simply this: become more selective in the news you expose your mind to. Be more deliberate in the way you read your newspaper and in the way you watch your television. Before you start reading the morning paper, have a purpose in mind. Use it as an information tool to serve you and to make you wiser rather than as an excuse to help you pass time. One of the best ways to wean yourself from the news addiction that so many of us suffer from is to go on a 7-day news fast. Vow not to read even one negative story in the newspaper or watch even one negative news report on television for the next week. You will notice 2 things. First, you will not really miss out on much information. You will still hear about the most important stories of the day from the conversations that circulate around your office and through your encounters at home. Second, you will feel much more peaceful and serene. As well, you will find that the 7-day news fast offers yet another benefit: more time to do the things that will truly improve the quality of your life. 48. Get serious about setting goals. Many speakers and authors encourage you to set goals, but most have never explained why this is such a powerful discipline beyond saying something like something magical happens when you write down your goals on paper. In my opinion, setting clearly defined goals for all the areas of your life works for 3 reasons. First, it restores a sense of focus in your world, a world that has become complicated by too many options. In this age we live in, there are simply far too many things to do at any given time. There are too many distractions that compete for our attention. Goals clarify our desires and, in doing so, help us to focus on only those activities that will lead us to what we want. Setting clearly defined goals provides you with a framework for smarter choices. If you know precisely where you are going, it becomes far easier to select those activities that will get you there. Writing down your goals clarifies your intentions, and the first step to realizing your vision is defining it. As novelist Saul Bellow once observed, a clear plan relieves you of the torment of choice. Or as author Glenn Bland wrote, goals and plans take the worry out of living. If you set goals, the actions you take will be based on your life's mission rather than on your day moods. The second reason that goal setting works is that it keeps you alert to opportunities. The discipline almost magnetizes your mind to seek out new opportunities that you need to seize in order to create the personal, professional, and spiritual life you desire. And the third reason goal setting works is that clearly defined goals commit you to a course of action. They give you the inspiration to act on your priorities and make things happen in your life rather than waiting for opportunities to land in your lap, which rarely happens. Selecting goals that engage and motivate you is one of the best ways to boost the level of your personal commitment to life and increase the energy you bring to your days. So set big goals. You are only as rich, whether materially or spiritually, as your dreams. Or as advertising genius David Ogilvy put it, don't bunt. Aim out of the ballpark. Aim for the company of immortals. 49. Remember the rule of 21. As I wrote in The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, it takes about 21 days to develop a new habit. Yet most people give up on creating a positive life change after only the first few days, when they experience the stress and pain that is always associated with replacing old behaviors with new ones. New habits are much like a new pair of shoes. For the first few days, they will feel uncomfortable. But if you break them in for about 3 weeks, they will fit a second skin. As human beings, we are genetically programmed to resist change and maintain a state of equilibrium. The condition, known as homeostasis, evolved naturally over time as a means by which our ancestors could survive constantly changing conditions. The problem is that the mechanism works to keep things as they are even when more favorable possibilities exist. And that is why we have such difficulty adopting new habits and overcoming the gravitational forces that prevent us from moving to higher levels of living. But just as a rocket uses more fuel during the first few minutes after lift off than it does over the days that follow when it will cover more than 500,000 miles, once you get past those first 21 days you will find that staying on course with a new habit will be far easier than you imagined. Take the time to study your personal habits and promise to make the necessary changes. The quality of your life will be determined in large measure by the nature of your habits. John Dryden observed, "We first make our habits and then our habits make us." While Virginia Woolf wrote, "The skeleton of habit alone upholds the human frame." So ensure that your habits move you forward rather than hold you back. In the timeless words of Publius Syrus, powerful indeed is the empire of habit. 50. Practice forgiveness. Forgiving someone who has wronged you is actually a selfish act rather than a selfless one. Letting go of the hostility and hatred that you may have allowed to bottle up inside you is actually something you do for yourself rather than for the benefit of the other person. As I teach in my life coaching programs, when you bear a grudge against someone, it is almost as if you carry that person around on your back with you. He drains you of your energy, enthusiasm, and peace of mind. But the moment you forgive him, you get him off your back, and you can move on with the rest of the world. Mark Twain wrote that, "Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that crushed it." Forgiveness is a great act of spirit and personal courage. It is also one of the best ways to elevate the quality of your life. I have discovered that every minute you devote to thinking about someone who has wronged you is a minute you have stolen from a much worthier pursuit, attracting those people who will help you. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.